What is the best sleeping position at night so your back, neck, and sciatic nerve can actually recover instead of hurting more by morning? When someone asks this, I always pause before answering, because pain after 60 is rarely just wear and tear. It is shaped by posture, nerve tension, and how the spine is supported for hours at a time. And if those nighttime signals stay misaligned, sleep stops being recovery and becomes repetition of harm, and no stretch, no pill, or daytime effort can undo what is being reinforced while you lie there unaware. So in today's episode of the Senior Health Podcast, Japan's oldest doctor will walk you through the most protective sleeping positions for back pain, neck pain, and sciatica, including small adjustments that can ease pressure almost immediately. You will learn simple position changes that you can try safely at home without equipment or strain, and each recommendation is supported by both American and Japanese research. Doctor, welcome back. I know many listeners have been waiting for this conversation.
Thank you, John. This episode matters deeply for seniors because pain that disrupts sleep is far more widespread and more damaging than most realize. A large Japanese cohort study following over 2,000 adults aged 65 and older for several years found that more than 60% experienced chronic back or neck pain that disrupted sleep. Many were told to accept it, not because it was inevitable, but because no one ever showed them how powerfully sleep position shapes pain.
Exactly. We are often told pain is just something you wake up with or live around. But the body is not passive at night. It is responding to pressure, alignment, and nerve signals the entire time you are asleep.
You are exactly right. Pain during sleep is not only about joints or discs. It reflects posture, spinal loading, muscle guarding, and nerve compression. And once seniors understand those signals, they can begin to reduce pain instead of reinforcing it night after night.
That makes sense. Now, in past episodes, we have talked about movement and stretching for pain relief. But for many seniors, the nighttime is where pain quietly builds. So today's episode gives a different perspective. We are focusing on simple changes you can make immediately, without effort or strain, that work while you rest.
Yes, and this is where age quietly changes the rules, John. After 60, the spine loses some of its natural hydration and flexibility, and nerves become less forgiving to pressure. So a position that once felt harmless can now hold the body in stress for 6 or 7 hours without relief. That's why pain often feels worse in the morning than at bedtime. And if this sounds familiar, let us know in the comments. Comment 1 if you usually wake up with back pain, or 2 if it's your neck or legs.
I hear that so often from my patients. They tell me they go to bed feeling manageable, but wake up stiff, sore, or even scared to move. It feels confusing, almost discouraging.
This is because the body does most of its repair at night, not during the day. If the spine is twisted, compressed, or unsupported during that repair window, healing cannot happen properly. Instead, muscles guard, nerves stay irritated, and circulation slows in places that need it most. This is not failure. It is simply physics meeting biology.
That reframes things in a powerful way, because it suggests the night itself is part of the treatment, not just the problem.
Exactly. And here is the hopeful part I want everyone listening to hold on to. When we change how the spine rests, we often change how pain behaves. But before we talk about positions or pillows, there is one important principle that we must discuss first, because it decides whether sleep heals or harms.
That makes me lean in, because it sounds foundational rather than technical. What is that principle, and how does a senior recognize it when they lie down at night?
Well, let me explain it in the simplest way I know. The principle is called neutral spine, and it means allowing the spine to rest in the same gentle curves it has when you stand comfortably upright. Not flattened, not twisted, not forced into shape. When seniors lie down and those curves are respected, the muscles can soften and the nerves can finally feel safe. That sense of safety is what allows healing to begin.
That's interesting, because many tell me they are trying to lie as flat as possible, almost bracing themselves through the night. They think stillness equals protection.
I hear that a lot, but the spine is not meant to be rigid, even at rest. When it is pulled too flat or bent too far, small muscles stay switched on, guarding all night long. Over hours, that guarding turns into stiffness, pain, and nerve irritation by morning. Neutral spine is not a posture you force, it is one you allow.
I would say it sounds like listening to the body rather than correcting it.
It basically is, and once you understand that feeling, it becomes a quiet reference point. If the body feels balanced and unstrained, the spine is likely neutral. But here is where many get stuck, because knowing the principle is not enough if the surface beneath you works against it.
That raises a practical curiosity for me. How much of this comes down to what the body is lying on, and how can you tell if your mattress or pillow is quietly undoing that balance during sleep?
Well, what matters most is that whatever you sleep on is shaping your spine for 6 or 7 uninterrupted hours. A mattress that dips under the hips or stiffens under the shoulders can quietly pull the spine out of balance without waking you. The same happens at the neck when a pillow lifts the head too high or lets it drop too low. Seniors often feel the pain in the morning, but the cause has been forming all night.
That explains why so many of my patients feel confused by their pain. They rest, they do nothing strenuous, yet they wake up worse than when they went to bed.
Exactly, and that confusion creates unnecessary fear. Over time, mattresses compress unevenly and pillows lose their structure, even if they still look fine on the surface. The spine then spends hours compensating for that uneven support, tightening muscles and irritating nerves. Pain is not a surprise in that situation. It is a predictable outcome.
Hearing it framed that way makes nighttime pain feel far less mysterious and far more manageable.
Yes, and this is where hope quietly enters the picture. Even before replacing anything, the way a senior positions their body can either reduce that strain or multiply it. One common sleeping habit, in particular, works against the spine more than most: realize.
That immediately sparks my curiosity. Which sleeping position causes the most trouble for the back, neck, and sciatic nerve, and why does it become so problematic as seniors get older?
It is stomach sleeping, John, and I say that gently because many seniors do it without realizing the cost. When you sleep on your stomach, the neck must rotate for hours just to breathe, and that rotation alone strains joints and nerves. At the same time, the lower back often sinks into an exaggerated curve, which increases pressure on the discs and the sciatic nerve. Over decades, tissues lose tolerance, so what once felt harmless becomes inflammatory and painful.
That lands deeply, because I hear seniors say they wake up with neck pain or a burning ache down one leg and have no idea why. They often blame the mattress or assume something is deteriorating inside them.
That reminds me of conversations I have had for years. Stomach sleeping locks the spine into a twisted, compressed position with no chance to reset. The chest presses into the surface, breathing becomes shallower, and muscles stay partially tense all night. For seniors, that combination reduces circulation and leaves nerves irritated by morning. The body is not failing. It is reacting to prolonged stress.
It feels important to say that out loud, because many listeners may recognize themselves in that pattern.
Yes, and here is the quiet truth I want seniors to hear. Even if stomach sleeping feels familiar or comforting, it is often the single biggest driver of morning pain. The good news is that the body responds quickly when that pattern changes.
That gives me hope, but it also raises an important question for me. I think everyone should hear. If a senior tries to move away from stomach sleeping, what usually goes wrong first when they shift to sleeping on their side?
That is such an important question because side sleeping is often recommended but rarely taught correctly. What usually goes wrong first is that the body collapses into the mattress unevenly. The shoulder sinks, the hip drops, and the spine quietly bends instead of staying aligned. Seniors wake up thinking side sleeping failed them, when really the position was incomplete.
I see that confusion often. They try to do the right thing, yet they wake up with hip pain, a stiff neck, or that familiar pull in the lower back. It can feel discouraging, almost like the body is resisting change.
Yes, and it makes perfect sense. When the head is not supported at the right height, the neck tilts all night long. When the knees stack without support, the top leg pulls the pelvis forward and strains the lower spine. None of this is dramatic in the moment, but over hours it adds up. Side sleeping is not harmful. Side sleeping without balance is.
That distinction alone feels relieving, because it explains why the effort matters but the details matter more.
Yes, and this is where many seniors quietly give up too soon. With just a few simple adjustments, side sleeping can become one of the most protective positions for the spine. But the order of those adjustments matters more than people expect.
That makes me want to slow this down and really understand it. What are the first changes a senior should focus on so side sleeping actually supports the spine instead of twisting it?
We start by thinking of side sleeping as a stacked position, not a collapsed one. The head needs to rest so the neck stays level and not tilted toward the mattress or lifted away from it. The shoulders and hips should feel evenly supported, with no sharp pressure points pulling the spine out of line. When that balance is right, the body relaxes instead of bracing itself.
That image of stacking rather than sinking is helpful. It sounds less like forcing a posture and more like letting the body settle correctly.
Indeed, and this is where small details quietly change everything. When the knees touch without support, the top leg drifts forward and twists the lower back. When the waist has empty space beneath it, the spine sags and muscles tighten to protect it. Side sleeping works best when the body feels gently filled in, so nothing has to hold itself up all night.
That makes it feel much more approachable, especially for seniors who worry about doing it wrong.
Yes, and here's something important to remember. When side sleeping is done well, it often reduces nerve tension and morning stiffness faster than seniors expect. But if even one part is overlooked, discomfort tends to move somewhere else instead.
Okay, and how does this compare to lying on the back? When seniors switch to back sleeping, what kind of hidden stress can show up there that they might not notice right away?
Well, back sleeping can be very restorative, but it has a quiet trap that many seniors do not feel until morning. When you lie on your back, the pelvis often tilts forward, especially if the legs are fully extended. That tilt increases the curve in the lower back and places steady pressure on the lumbar discs. Over several hours, that pressure can irritate nerves, even if the position feels comfortable at first.
I hear seniors say they finally feel relaxed when they switch to back sleeping. Then they wake up with that deep ache across the lower spine and cannot connect it to the night before.
That reminds me of a study from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine that followed older adults with chronic low back pain. Researchers found that prolonged back sleeping without leg support increased lumbar extension and morning pain scores, even when the mattress was considered supportive. The issue was not the bed itself, but how the spine was held for hours without relief. Comfort can be misleading when alignment is off.
That distinction feels important because it explains why relief at bedtime does not always mean recovery by morning.
Yes, and please everyone stay. With me, Because the hopeful part is that one simple adjustment, back sleeping, can shift from stressing the lower spine to protecting it. Most seniors already have what they need at home.
That immediately makes me curious and a little relieved. What adjustment changes that pressure so quickly? And how does a senior know when their lower back is finally able to rest instead of brace?
Well, you start by softening the lower back rather than flattening it. When a senior places gentle support under the knees, the pelvis naturally settles and the exaggerated curve in the lower spine eases. That small change allows the muscles along the spine to release instead of holding tension all night. When the back feels heavier against the bed, that is usually the first sign it is resting, not bracing.
I like how you describe that sensation, because it gives seniors something to feel for rather than measure. It turns comfort into a signal instead of a guess.
Yes, and the key here is listening to what happens after the first few minutes. If the breath deepens and the lower back stops trying to arch away from the mattress, the body has accepted the position. In Japan, a long-term sleep study from the University of Tsukuba observed older adults over several months and found that reducing lumbar arch during back sleeping significantly lowered reports of morning stiffness and sciatic discomfort. The change was simple, but the effect was consistent. Rest follows alignment.
That connection between breath, weight, and pain relief makes the process feel calmer and more intuitive.
Exactly. And here is something I want everyone to hold in mind. There is no single perfect sleeping position for everyone, but there is a position that fits your body best. Learning how to recognize that fit is what changes sleep from something you endure into something that heals.
Okay then, how does a senior begin noticing which position truly suits their body, especially if they have been sleeping one way for decades and everything feels unfamiliar at first?
It begins with patience and permission. When seniors change a long-held sleep habit, the body can feel unfamiliar before it feels better. The first signal to notice is not comfort, but ease. When a position fits, the breath slows and the muscles soften without effort.
That's a gentler way to approach change, especially when sleep feels deeply personal.
Exactly. This is where curiosity replaces control. Instead of forcing stillness, seniors can notice whether they shift less during the night or wake with fewer sharp reminders. Over a few nights, the right position stops feeling like an adjustment and starts feeling natural.
I appreciate that because it helps seniors observe their bodies instead of judging them.
And here is the quiet truth to remember. When the body feels supported, it does not fight rest. But when alignment is off, the night becomes a long period of compensation that shows up by morning.
That explains why so many seniors sleep for hours yet wake up feeling worse.
Yes. When the spine stays slightly strained, muscles never fully release, circulation slows, and nerves remain alert. Sleep still happens, but recovery does not. The body keeps score even when the mind is resting.
That makes the pain feel understandable rather than random. How do seniors begin turning sleep back into healing?
By trusting small changes done consistently. When the body feels supported night after night, it remembers how to let go, and healing quietly returns.
That reframes sleep as an ally, not a struggle. If this conversation resonated with you, take a quiet moment tomorrow to begin, and please like, share, and subscribe, and leave us with a comment. Oh, and watch this next video right now.
Yes, please.
We've picked this one especially for you.